Alright, so I just got a new board for myself. It is the Naish Monarch. It's a 132. And we've got some bindings as well. These are the new Apex. Same as last year's, just a different color scheme. I've been a really good fan of these Apex bindings just because they're so easy to adjust the size or the stance and your angle. They have dual strap pads in here, so instead of coming down and pivoting at one point, it just sits down right on your foot perfectly. For board offs, they are a little tricky just because you got this little extra heel lip in that you got to get your foot back in. But not too many guys are doing board offs these days, but I still like to do them. They're pretty fun. But like I said, you just got to really get your feet in there as quick as you can without getting your foot caught on this lip. But other than that, these are probably the most comfortable bindings I've been in. You can change this little pad right in here if you want more of a softer feel, or it comes with a harder pad on here for guys that feel this is a little too squishy. They do feel real squishy to me, so I might try these hard ones on if I'm not feeling it. And in here we have the Monarch 132. Now I went from the Dub 132 because I like the amount of rocker it had on it, and it's kind of good for some soft landings. And I want to try this Monarch because it's kind of more, the description is more my style. Fast riding and kind of riding real powered up, big jumps, freestyle, but it kind of has the ability to do everything. So I really like this one just because it's got a pirate on it. And I do like pirates, so this would be a pretty cool board to have. May even keep it for a couple seasons, just because these boards last quite a while. They're extremely durable boards. I ride them up on the sand all the time, drop them from board offs sometimes as well. And traveling with them, you never really have to worry about these things getting damaged on a plane. Comes with, of course, 4 fins and a little grab handle. This grab handle is a little bit nicer than last year's. It's like a legit handle. It's not going to move around as much. Boom. So it's a little stiffer than the board I'm used to, so it'll be interesting to see how it compares and how I like it compared to the Dub, which is their kind of wake style specific board. That board's got a lot of rocker. This has the rocker toned back a little bit, so should be able to go upwind a lot better, more efficiently. And we'll just see how those landings are after I'm doing mega loops and kite loops and stuff. I don't want to come down too hard, but I'll wear my brace and see what happens. Okay, yeah, this board also has a lot of channels in it too, so I think for light wind riding, you'll be able to upwind a little bit better. And it's all, I believe all this is, it's got a carbon V. So right in here, a lot of the flex points of stress. Right in here, it's got a little V of carbon in there to give it a little bit extra rigidity and strength. Wood core, that keeps it a little more lively when you're riding it. You don't want something super stiff, but yeah, there is a little bit of flex on this. So that's nice. So yeah, we'll go over the setup on how to just get all this stuff on there, get the fins on, and how to do that properly. Alright, so these are the fins here that come with the board. Just looking at these, I noticed right off the bat they're different than your typical fin that Naish has provided. So, for this here, it looks like these inserts actually come up the board into these channels. Let's see. So you kind of have to press them in there just like that. And yeah, as you can see, there's just kind of a little bit of the insert sticking up. I don't know if I like that much or if that's kind of nice. So yeah, you always want to install your fin. I went to the beach one time and the guy's had his fin on backwards, like he's gonna be riding like this into the waves. But basic law of aerodynamics right here. You got water coming in this way, so this is gonna be your leading edge, your front of the fin. I shouldn't have to tell that to most of you, but some of you may need to know that this is going to face the center of the board. Okay, so we're just going to put this in like that. Boom. Let's go ahead and grab some screws and a screwdriver. Put these fins in. And I'll just go ahead and get it started. So when I do grab my screwdriver, I can just do them all at once. Now, I usually like a little bit of a duck stance, and I'm 5'7", so I'm gonna go at this. It's got a, let's see, 64, 60, 64, and 68. So I'll probably just go right in the middle. I think that's what I am on my dub. And then for the angle here, I like a pretty, duck stance. So when I get the camera, I'll just point it straight down. You can kind of see the angle that I like to ride. There we go. So I usually just put those in place, and then I'll count up how many arrows we got, because you want to make sure it's symmetrical the way you're riding. Alright, so one fin at a time. We're just going to get these guys in there. And I guess those channels are pretty nice. I like those. Make it easier to screw in, makes sure it keeps you right on line. So here we are. Foot pad time. Okay, so you're given 4 of these, so don't lose one. And I'm basically just putting this little washer inside, or putting the screw inside the washer, and you're just kind of getting them ready for the position you want to put them in. Okay, so as you can see, right in here, you got little notches. And these grooves sit in there, and you can find the exact notch where you are. So you're going to want to line that up exactly. Arrows on this side, you got arrows on the binding, and you do the same thing over here. So that's going to line up with whatever notch setting you have. So when I put my foot in here, like I said, I'm going the middle one right here, which is actually, even though the number goes through there, it says 68, it's actually the 64 because it's going off the edge of your binding. My stance is going to be 64 centimeters wide, and it's going to go in there. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to screw these in just a little bit. So again, you don't want it too tight because you want to be able to move this guy. So I'm just going to loosen it up just a little bit. There we go. So that can move. So this one's pretty nice. It stays in place. You can move it around, and that's how you're going to want to adjust your setting. So I'm thinking I really like to be on the heel side edge because that gives me a little bit more, edging ability. If you're way up top here, you're going to have to be really kind of putting a lot more leverage on your ankles and your front shin muscle right here. So you're gonna have to be leaning back to edge, as opposed to if you're kind of sitting right on the edge of the board, you can edge a little bit better. Looks like that second knot here, or the second arrow from the top. So I'm gonna lock you in there, not super tight yet. And then this one here, I kind of like my feet pretty duck, almost, not quite at a 45, but a little less. 1, 2, 3, fourth one down on the inner binding. Alright, so I'm just going to lock all these in, screw all the fins in, and I can kind of show you what the stance looks like from above. Alright, so I've got all the fins are in, they're really solid, as you can see right in there. It's a pretty nice looking board. So the top, if you want to check out what kind of stance, I'm setting right here, and I'll let you know if that works good or not. We'll go ahead and get some footage and see if this is something that's gonna, a stance that you might like. Usually a wide stance you know, if you're going to be planting those landings, you want to have a pretty good base to be landing on. You don't want it too narrow. You know, you don't want it super wide, but you know, a lot of the guys, they do have a normal, you know, above average width of a stance. All right. So now we're going to go kiting, and hopefully I'll just be on the 7 meter, maybe the 6 if I'm really lucky, and we'll see how this does, and I'll compare it with a board with a lot of rocker and you know, to the Pismo conditions. So I spoke too soon, and I peeled this off a little too quickly, and there's a little bit of sticky stuff on there. So unfortunately, you're gonna have to be really careful and patient when you peel this stuff off. Just go slow and steady, and don't rip it off, because you'll be stuck doing this or just getting sand all over it.